Wales, November 24, 2024.
I won't say anything about the blood source, right? But
It's not good that the rain is picking up again. Is it?
A major incident has been declared in South Wales as Storm Bert continues to wreak havoc, with between 200 and 300 properties affected by severe flooding. Risca and Taff County Borough Council, South Wales Fire and Rescue, Natural Resources Wales and South Wales Police announced the emergency status earlier today. The impact is expected to be more significant than that of Storm Dennis in 2020, according to council officials.
but that's a floating scale. And the wall is just burst there.
The River Taff raced through the center of Pontypridd on Sunday, overflowing its banks and overwhelming homes and businesses. Science Ridge, which runs parallel to river in the center of the valley's towns, was flooded, with the murky water breaching several terrace properties. Residents desperately tried to empty their front yards of water with plastic buckets, while others frantically stacked sandbags on their doorsteps. Firefighters arrived and pumped water in the shadows of the town's 18th century stone-old bridge, while members of the public brought fruits and drinks to the emergency workers. This is the second time in 4 years the streets in Pontypridd has experienced major flooding. Ian Dewhurst left in his car about 100 miles away in Salisbury, Wiltshire, after receiving a phone call from his distressed daughter, who had moved into a property in Sion Streets just 2 weeks ago. The floodwater had yet to breach her home, but as Dewhurst gestured with his hand, the rising deluge came within inches of breaching the reinforced metal floodgate that protect the property. Yellow weather warning is a familiar sight of the Argus readers, but on Sunday the devastating floods showed the real impact of the storm. In the early hours on Sunday, the M48 once again closed in both directions due to the strong winds. There were several flood warnings issued, with 50 red warnings and 60 amber alert from Natural Resources Wales. Throughout the day, residents across Gwent and Monmouthshire saw increasingly shocking image and video footage as river burst their banks.
Recorder.
Well, coming out this morning, taking Taff for a walk, and what came before my eyes was...
The flooding took place across the region, including but not limited to Risca, Ebbw Vale, Abertillery, Newport, Abergavenny, Monmouthshire, Abersychan and Blackwood. A map of all the flood warnings across Wales showed the national emergency taking place, which was even addressed by the First Minister of Wales herself. An important message was issued by Gwent Police asking the police to abide by the road closures and not attempt to drive through floodwater. It was in the early morning that within minutes a rugby club in Crosscase, Newport was hit by flash flooding. Crosscase RFC says it is heartbroken after it was hit by the devastating flash flooding at around 7:20 am. In the morning, a local resident in Abergavenny witnessed the road completely flooded and what appeared to be a landslide at the Hardwick roundabout. When the river burst its banks over Castle Meadows in Abergavenny, the water rushed into the surrounding fields and roads. It was not just the roads that were flooded, as image showed a play area at the Boating Lake Park and Garden in Compran flooded. The flooding throughout Newport disrupted local bus services and train lines between Abergavenny and Pontypridd were completely blocked. At around 10:19 am, photographs and videos of significant flooding on roads and residential streets in Abersychan began to emerge.
Came up further last time. It came up further last time. But it wasn't down there before. It was. Well, it was down on the lake pass like that before. Yeah,
The M40 at Severn Crossing may have reopened at around 11:20 am as winds died down, but the flooding continued to wreak havoc in towns across the region. At around 12:50, the river Ebbw Vale at River Park in Newport began to breach its banks, and residents received calls warning them of potential imminent flooding. In the early afternoon, a street in the Hawthorns and Caroline was completely flooded, reported a local resident. In a video shared with the Argus, water levels can be seen so high that a skip flooded towards parked cars at the Blackwood Rugby Club. Rest centers were set up for affected residents at Pontypridd Library, the Wisrat Sports Centre, Sobel Leisure Centre, and Cannon Valley Indoor Ball Centre. Pontypridd was just one of the towns severely affected in South Wales, with Rhondda and Taff County Borough Council, South Wales Fire and Rescue, Natural Resources Wales and South Wales Police declaring a major incident for the borough.